Hey guys, today we're going to be analyzing this game, one of my favorite games actually of all history, between GM Facts and GM Real Gamer. Uh, Now this was a 10-minute game for the uh, Males Blitz Championship in the 1700s, and let me just tell you that this was a really wild game. And essentially the lore behind this game is that GM Facts and GM Real Gamer have been having some real beef recently. Before this event, they were like spitting facts at each other, and essentially they had to go down in chess. They had to do it. They had to settle it. So they decided to settle it during the World Championship. All right, so as you can see here, GM Real Gamer having white and GM Facts having black. So let's see the opening. Pretty standard so far, and bam, already, as we can see here, we have a completely new game. This has never been, this has never happened ever, ever in the entire history of chess. Because look at all of these. This was actually created during this line was actually created during during this game. So as you can see, it's already just looking super strong for white. However, GM Fax, he's a GM too, so of course he can see this line instantly, and so he plays this in order to counter this, because then all he has to do is do this, and then bam, the queen is threatening the queen, and then over here, GM Real Gamer just moves his knight, and GM Fax decides to move his uh, pawn right up here just to block any idea of moving over here. So GM Fax, not wanting to give up a strong angle, decides to go for this angle. Very strong, and also can threaten this. And if he ever needs to get out, he can go do that. And maybe even take if you want, but I don't think he will. Oops. Alright, so let's get back to where it was. Alright, right about here. So GM Fax decides I'm just gonna take over here. Real Gamer in real trouble here because now his rook is under fire. Um, so, but Real Gamer is a real gamer, so he just decides to keep attacking and putting up the pressure. And as you can see here, GM Fax only has two pieces developed, whereas um, GM Real Gamer has four. And so it's already looking like GM Real Gamer is just gonna steamroll. Now GM Fax decides to move his knight up just so then he could have some more pieces, so then he could stand more of a chance. Um, but GM Real Gamer just moves up even closer, and that just kind of scares GM Fax a little bit more. So GM Fax decides to move his pawn all the way up here, just so then he could prevent it being taken over here, potentially. And right here, GM Real Gamer decides to move another piece. And now, as you can see here, the difference in development is absolutely astonishing. Um, yeah, it's actually looking really bad for black here. So black decides to move that out of the way, clearing room for the bishop to go right here. And right there, GM Real Gamer decides to castle. Already development, and now once this line opens up, it's gonna be real tough. It's gonna be real tough. Um, of course, GM Fax wasn't born yesterday, and so he knows about this cool pin thing that he can do. So now that basically immobilizes him from going to any of these squares. The knight is now essentially useless. And so GM Real Gamer decides to just keep attacking with his other knight. Of course, GM Fax calmly moves his piece to the side, attacking this and threatening this line right here. Um, and so that could be potentially really tough for white because once he takes out the black queen, it could just it can destroy, it can derail basically this, and this, all in one swoop. Of course, though, so that means that GM Fax decides I'm just gonna move back a bit. That way I can protect myself from this guy coming this way. That way he blocks it. Um, but of course, GM Fax just keeps on going. And what you're gonna see is a little bit, might look a little weird here. And you might be thinking, why didn't he just take right here? And that's because once he takes right there, all GM Fax has to do is do that. And then no matter what move he does, like this, he can just take, and then this, and then he just takes, and it's just game over. So let's go back. All right, so GM Fax decides to move here just so then he could prevent that line from happening. And GM Real Gamer decides to do this, and GM Fax decides just to go here, moving out his queen from a dangerous position, and while still attacking these pawns here. Yep. Of course, he wants to reduce the damage, so GM Real Gamer moves up a bit, and GM Fax just keeps on piling the pressure, creating a line right here. Very strong. And another strong move by white, moving up this pawn, protecting this piece, and potentially going over here. All right, black moving in, threatening more pieces, of course. He wants to keep threatening things. He wants to keep threatening things. These are under fire now. But GM Real Gamer has another boost of confidence and just keeps moving up. GM Fax sees what he's doing and he decides to move over here so that he could keep on developing. But GM Real Gamer just says no to that, and there's no potential way of breaking through this now. So GM Fax just keeps on pushing, hoping to go over here to make a pawn sacrifice. And just GM Real Gamer continuing development, moving up there. And same with GM Fax, just developing. And as you can see here, just some good development happening. A little bit of a trade there. GM Real Gamer up one piece, but if you can look at the position here, we can already see that GM Real Gamer is in a better position, so it's hard to say who's winning here, but we'll just keep going. Oh, shoot. So just a recap here, as you can see, some good lines. All right, so let's go back to about here. Yep. So already just some good stuff happening. They're just basically developing, and that's about all that's happening. Uh, GM Fax decides to make the queen sacrifice here, so then he can pick up this pawn. And same with GM Real Gamer. He decides to make that sacrifice for the pawn and the bishop. It's really hard to say who's winning right now, honestly. Uh, as we can see here, black has a strong center, but we can see here that white has these strong angles that just obliterate, and he can move up here for a potential promotion. So it's still hard to say who's winning. Wanting to cement his position, he moves his GM Real Gamer decides to move up here. That way he doesn't get any threats from the queen or the king, sorry. And he just keeps going. So just some more development, as we can see. This is actually a very cool line by black here. So GM Fax decides to take this, and he can't, and GM Real Gamer can't take like this, because if he takes like that, well, it's just basically game over at that point. So he knows that, so he just decides to keep developing his bishop there. And as we can see, just some good development happening. King getting out of the way of the pawn, and of course the promotion. Had to happen, but of course GM Fax knows what he's doing. Um, and so he's not worried about it. It's just some more good development here. As we can see here, we've got a cool pin here, but of course, as we know, GM Fax is a genius, and you can just see that. And as we know, if if it looks like GM Fax is giving up a piece for free or he's hanging a piece, he's actually not because, well, you get the gist. It's basically over. Just yeah, everything here just kind of just falls apart. Yep, see, it's just falling all apart. Nothing can stop him at that point. He just knows how modifications work. And so, oops, don't look at this. Let's just keep going back. A little bit of a preview of what happens next. So, just some more development happening essentially here. And they're just kind of moving back and forth, giving each other pieces and stuff. Okay, and then we end up right here, in this position. Very unique position. Of course, white has this strong angle. So, of course, white utilizes it. And black moves here, preparing to promote. White, seeing this promotion, moves back a bit, and as we can see here, GM Fax gets a free promotion. GM Real Gamer decides to just try and ignore it and continue with his development, and GM Fax just ignores him and continues with his own development. Seeing the danger, GM Real Gamer gets out of the way of the pawn, and the pawn just keeps steamrolling through and promotes again. So 2 promotions already for GM Real Gamer. But so or GM Fax, but GM Real Gamer doesn't want to get behind, and so bam, he gets another promotion. GM Real Gamer threatens and gets bopped, but then bops back. And at this point, it's just a complete travesty for GM Real Gamer, because as we can see here, our black king here has a very strong line to this, and then potentially just going through ham all over the place here. So as we can see, let's watch that play out. Yep. As we can see here, GM Real Gamer tries to run away, but he can't run away forever and gets bopped. Of course, the knight tries to run away as well, but he gets bopped as well. And at this point, it's just a complete loss. GM Real Gamer gets some minor wins here, but he already knows that he's lost. He plays a couple more moves, and in this position, GM Real Gamer resigned the game. So, a pretty crazy game, honestly. It's actually one of my favorite games. It happened in one of the more obscure chess tournaments. Um, but honestly, it's just quite an amazing game, honestly. Um, I can't really see a game getting much harder than this game here. It was a really hard game with some tricky maneuvers and stuff, and some sacrifices. And honestly, it was a very long game because both GMs just were so deep in each other's heads. Um, but anyways, that's enough for this video. Of course, you can try to find me on social media if you want. Like and subscribe the video. Leave a comment if you want to. And for those of you who watched till the end, why don't you put in the comments gorilla, and you will be entered into a free draw to be mentioned in my next video. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.